All right. Hello and welcome. Did you know that you can actually set different levels of access or visibility, however you want to look at it, on your YouTube videos? A lot of people don't. A lot of people think there's only two, but there's actually a lot more options, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight on this show. But we have to do a tiny bit of housekeeping first because, as you may have noticed, things are a little different. I am about halfway through rearranging my studio. And by halfway, I mean that most of what I need is on the machine behind me, but that doesn't have a camera or a mic on it anymore. This has a camera and a mic, but it doesn't have all the assets. So we're going to be doing a lot of this manually, so it's going to have a slightly different feel to it. And there's a really good chance that we're not actually live anywhere right now, but that's okay too, because this is what happens when you do live. Sometimes things don't work out exactly the way you want, but I'm creating a recording, so one way or another, I will get this out to you. So let's go ahead and dive in. So we are going to talk about the fact that you actually have more options than you might realize when you are looking to set permissions or visibility on your YouTube videos. And this is a good thing because sometimes there are going to be situations where either, being out there public is not exactly what you want, and maybe, deleting it is not exactly what you want either. I promise I'm not going to delete this one because, hey, it's live. That's what this is supposed to be. So let's just dive right in, okay? So most people know about the basic two, right? You do your stream, right? Or you upload your video and it's public, right? You're ready to go. You work hard on your title and your description and you attach your keywords and you do your social media promotion and all that good stuff. And it may or may not actually, take off, but you've done your bit, right? You have done everything that you can do to get your content out there. And that's the important thing. And for most of what you do, that's fine. Like one of those two options is going to be what you want to do. And really 99.9% of the time, public is the way to go. If you have a complete and utter train wreck, if something really horrific happens, then yeah, go ahead and delete it. But don't be afraid to leave things out there, warts and all, right? Like we're going to have some warts tonight. Don't let that throw you. It's okay because it adds to your honesty, right? Your authenticity, right? You're not hiding behind a mega production, right? You are putting yourself out there and your business out there exactly how things are, exactly the way things are happening. That's what people are getting. And people can relate to that. So don't freak out. Don't immediately go for the delete because once you delete the video, unless you're like me and you do a local recording also, once you delete the video from YouTube, it's gone. There's no way to change your mind, bring it back. When it's gone, it is history. So be really thoughtful and careful before you do that. And of course, public you get, right? Public is, it's out there. People can search for it. They can, find it on your channel. You can put it in your playlist. All that kinds of stuff, is available for those kinds of videos. I'm sorry. So in addition to like everything being halfway done, it turns out that I can't use my second monitor, which I was able to use with that machine for reasons I won't bother you with, but I don't have my setup. So I actually had to put my notes down here so that I can show you something later. So again, warts and all. So public, it's out there. People can search for it, and that's how they're most likely going to find you, especially on YouTube, because YouTube is definitely about people who are searching for answers and or education. So that is what is the common thing for that. So with public, right, you've got a URL you can share. You can add it to your channel. It'll be available. Shows up in search. Related videos like cross postings, all those kinds of things. It's obviously posted on your channel and it shows up in your subscriber feeds, right? So that ticks all the traditional, I posted a video on YouTube check boxes. Now let's talk about some of the other things and see. I keep going for my keys, which I don't have, but I have that. See, so we're working on it. We're getting the assets together. So let's talk about the other two, right? So the other two are unlisted and private. And as soon as those words go out there, everybody gets different pictures in their head, which is okay because this is what happens. But it's not super clear which is which and which you would use for what, right? So we're going to talk about those. Matter of fact, let me get my notes up because I want to make sure I'm clear about this because it is something that causes confusion for people, right? So we covered public, right? Public is out there. It's the default setting. So if you're looking to make your video public, whether you're uploading it or you're doing a live stream like this, that's the default. You don't have to do anything special. It's going to be public. The others, right, deleting it obviously, And private and unlisted are things you have to do, right? And I will show you where to go do those in a minute. So let's talk about private first of all, right? So private means no one can see it, okay? Except for people that you manually invite, okay? Private videos do not show up in Google search results. Sorry, I made myself a list here. Okay, so private does not come up in Google search results. You do not get a shareable URL. You can share the video, and I'll explain that in a minute, but you cannot share a URL, which also means somebody else can share a URL, which is good and bad, depending on what your goal is here. It will not show up in any channel section, right? It will not show up in search, in related videos, in anything like that. It's truly and honestly not there for most of the world. It is not posted on your channel, right? So there's no way anybody from the outside can go in and see this video that you've created, and it's not going to show up in your feed at all, right? Subscribers aren't going to know about it. Nobody's going to know about it unless you manually do something to let them know about it. And the way you do that is you can invite up to 50 people, and that's a cap. 50 people. That's it. No more. You cannot add anybody else to it. So that is all you're going to get. If you want to set your video to private, know that there will only ever be 50 people who can see it, and you have to manually invite each and every one of them. In addition to that, the people that you invite must have a Google address, right? An email account, a Google account, which for all intents and purposes is a Gmail account. Okay, Google, that wasn't for you. I should have thought about that. I should have turned that off since we're going to be throwing that name around a lot.
It should be gone in a moment.
Thank you. So that is the other thing to keep in mind. It is a hard cap, and you have to manually invite them, and they have to be inside the ecosystem. So whether or not that's good or bad is something you have to decide for you and that particular video. But those are the restrictions around that. The other one is unlisted. Now, unlisted is a very similar type of setting to private with a couple of important differences, okay? So an unlisted video means that only people who know the link, have the URL, right, can view it, okay? So you have a URL that you can give to people, and then they can view the video. The thing is, you have no control over it, right? So when you share that link out, if somebody then shares it to somebody else, that somebody else now has access, which may or may not be okay with you. It will not appear, okay, in any of the basic YouTube's public spaces, right? So that means it's not going to be in search results. It's not going to show up in your channel listing. You can't add it to playlists. Yeah, you can't add it to playlists because that would be a public place. And nobody's going to find it just by browsing your site. So they have to have the URL, and you have to supply that to them. There is no way that they're going to just trip across it and find it. Now, you do not need, in the unlisted scenario, you do not need to have a Google account. I'm going to have to call something else tonight. I can see that the lights are going because it's listening to me. Okay, Google, that wasn't for you. By the way, that's how you make it stop reacting to what you're saying. Anyway, I clearly have to adjust the sensitivity on this one. So they don't have to be in the ecosystem. Anybody with that URL is going to be able to see that video, whether you've given it to them or somebody that you gave the link then shares it. Good or bad, it's all in a case-by-case basis. It's completely up to you. The other good thing about the unlisted version is it doesn't have a cap on it, right? There's no limit to how many people can come in and see that video. You also have no control over it. So 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Is this good? Is it bad? It depends what your goal is, what your, expectations are around it. So just to recap here for a moment before we go into how you do this. Public is default. When you upload a video or you do a live stream, your video is public. You don't have to do anything. That's just how it is. If for some reason you upload something and you didn't mean to, or something went horribly wrong with your live stream, you can delete it. Just understand, deleted means gone. There's no, oh wait, I changed my mind. There's no, wait, I want it back. It's gone. This is why I always recommend, if you're going to be doing recordings or live streamings, you always want to do a local recording and keep a copy, because Stuff happens. It's going to be that kind of night. Okay, right. So those are right. Public, automatic. Delete is something you have to manually do. Okay, and they will say to you, "Are you sure?" and all that kind of stuff. Make sure you're sure because it will be gone forever. Then you've got private, which has a cap of 50 people who can ever see it. Those 50 people have to have accounts inside of the YouTube Google. Inside the YouTube Google ecosystem, they have to have an account in order to be able to be invited by you, which is a manual process, and there is a cap of 50 people. 51st person you can't invite. And I'll show you how to do that in a second. And then the other one is Unlisted, which is sort of a hybrid, okay? You get a URL that you can share, which you don't get with private. Unlisted gets a URL, but it's still hidden, okay? It's not going to come up in search results. It's not going to be browsable from your YouTube account. It's not going to be in your channel. You're not going to be able to list it in playlists. But you get a URL that you can share, and that the person you share it with or the people you share it with can also share out. So anybody who has that URL is going to be able to get in and see that video. Let me just make sure I've gotten all those details. Okay, so private, right, can't do anything. Unlisted, shareable URL, added to a channel section, shows up in, does not show up in search or related videos or recording. So like if you've got triggered the cross-pollination of videos, right, where maybe you've got the end cards or the cards inside your videos that recommend other videos, or if you're looking for the YouTube engine to make recommendations towards your content, Unlisted or private are not going to work for you. They're not going to be something that can be suggested as another video for somebody to watch. So any exposure that content gets is strictly in your hands. You cannot rely on anybody else to give it out because none of the algorithms, none of the automatic tools are going to trigger that because you've told the system, hey, I don't want other people to see this. I'm going to pick who sees it. It will not be shown for Unlisted and private. It's not on your channel, and it's not going to be in your subscriber feed, so subscribers are not going to hear about it. I just wanted to make sure I got all of those because those are important details. Okay. All right, so then the next logical question is, okay, great, how do I do these things? So we're rolling the dice here. Let's switch over here and see if we can do this. Okay, cool, that worked. So you see, this is my listing here, right? So these are the videos that I've done recently, and you see I've got public ones. I do have some that I unlisted. So when the coronavirus first started, I started to do office hours every day for a couple of weeks because there were so many people who were working from home at first, for the first time. There were so many people with kids, having to do the online learning. There were so many teachers having to do online learning. So I was getting a lot of questions. So I just started to go online every day so people could come and ask these questions because it was just easier than trying to deal with all the phone calls and emails and text messages. Not that I didn't answer those, I did, but it seemed logical that other people would have those questions, so I did those. But that was a one-time kind of thing, right? I'm not going to do office hours ongoing. Maybe I'll go back to it if something else comes up. So that's why I enlisted it. When people reach out, they're still reaching out because this is dragging on longer than people expected. So if they have a question that I know I covered, it's unlisted, so I can give that link out to people and say, yep, I showed people how to do this. Here's the link to it. If you still have questions, get back in touch with me. So that's why I chose to make these unlisted, right? So all these are unlisted. So if you want, so let's go into a public one, and hopefully I won't actually do this. So this is one I just did recently about video thumbnails. So you go into your Creator Studio, right? You see up here, Studio. So you can get to that from your main YouTube page. And then you come into you pick videos over here on the list, right? So you start off with the dashboard. Here, we'll start in the dashboard, right? So here's your dashboard. And then you come in, and then you've got your videos, right? Yes, that's what we were just looking at. Okay. Right, and then you can come in and you can change, your title and stuff like that. And this is where you would do the delete, is from this view here. How did I get... They just changed this on me, so it's messed me all up. Channel videos. That's okay. There's videos and there's channel videos. Channel videos is really where you want to do most of this. It's easier that way. So you can come in here, you can edit the title, right? There's all kinds of stuff, and we can cover this in another video if you'd like. This is where you can delete it forever. They've made it very, very clear. This is delete forever. Okay, so be very careful with that. And then if you wanted to change the visibility of it, right, you can come over here. Right now it's public, but you can change it to private or unlisted. You can schedule it, which is a conversation for another time. So if I wanted to make this unlisted, I would just come in here and click this. And if I wanted to make it private, I would come in here and do that. Once it's set to unlisted, let's say, if you want to share it, you can click here and get a shareable link right here. So if I click here, it copied it to the clipboard. Then I can come up and like I could put this in an email to somebody or a text message, and boom, they would get into this. Another way to do it is to actually go into the video. Okay, and then if you come in here, this is a layout where you probably have seen if you've ever posted anything, right? You got your titles, all this kind of stuff. You can see here that it's unlisted. And also from here, you can come in. Where is the shareable link? Oh, here. You've got the link to the video right here under the thumbnail. So you could give that out as a way to share this video with whoever you want, accepting the fact that it could go beyond that. Then there are ones, I don't know if I have it here. Okay, yeah, so I had, I've got ones that I've set to private. They were tests I had done when I was trying to troubleshoot something, or if I was walking a client through something. So it really isn't something that anybody's ever going to come to my YouTube channel looking for. It's not answering questions. It's not educational. It was truly one-off kind of stuff. But I've kept it here for these kinds of demos. So like for this one here, this is private. So nobody has access to this, right? Unless I invite them. So I did pick one. This one doesn't even have, like I was having camera trouble, so I was actually testing different things. So you can see like there's, really nothing here, right? I put just a bogus title in here and there's nothing, it's never been used. If I wanted to share this with somebody, what I would do is I would come up here and I would say share privately. So let me just do this again. So next to undo changes and save, there's the 3-dot menu. You click on that and you do share privately. And what that does is it brings up a window, okay, where I can put in the email addresses of the people I would be looking to invite. After I put one or more of them in, I can, notify them by email, which is the easiest way to do this. And then it'll save and take you back. So like if I sent it to myself. Sorry, new keyboard too. All right, got to get used to it. It's not, I thought it was going to be more of a clicky. It's a mechanical keyboard, but it's a soft mechanical keyboard, so it's sort of a hybrid. So I could put this in here, and then it would say, save and go back to YouTube. I'm assuming it's going to give me some feedback. Okay, so now it's sending an email to me about this video, and that means I only have 49 more people I can ever send this to, should I ever want to. And that's all there is to it. So it's not terribly difficult to find these things and get in there and make these kinds of adjustments. But, you do have to think about it. It is a manual setting. And it is something that you need to think about what your goals are and what your goals are for the video and why you are changing that visibility setting before you go ahead and do one. And then know that once you've done it, you can go back in and change it, except if you deleted it. If you deleted it, it's gone, and that's all she wrote. You are just stuck there forever. It is never ever coming back. They're not saving a copy for you. Okay? All right. So that is what I have for you. Oh, that did work. Okay. Well, at least the mute worked since I don't have my cough button handy. So that is just all there is to it, right? So you can go in, by default, it's going to be public. You can go in, you can delete it manually. You can go in, you can manually set it to private or unlisted. Private, you can share it with 50 people who have YouTube, Google accounts. Yes. And then that's it. You can't share it with anybody else. If they try to share that information, only people who have their ID and login can get in. So that's the end of that story. And if you set it to unlisted, you can then share a URL with whoever. And then those people you have no control over. And if they choose to share it, they will too. Those are your options. For the people who ask, there's really not an easy way to set up a paywall. Well, let's put it this way. There is no paywall option in YouTube today as I'm recording this. So if you are looking to maybe restrict it to paying customers or whatever, you're going to have to marry, your recordings with some other sort of option where you can put in a paywall and then, ID and password for people to access it. It is a very complicated situation. There's really no turnkey solution for this that is not reasonably priced. I don't know of any that are free. Most of the ones that I do know about that I have helped clients with, there is a cost involved, and that cost gets high pretty quickly. So think about what your goals are. Try not to be too dear about your content. Make sure that you look at it for what it is, right? It is a service that you are providing. It is information that you are providing. That is a good thing. It is a way for people to learn about you and your products and services. Don't worry so much about keeping it hidden in general. I mean, unless you've got the launch codes, I don't know, really, why would you spend time making a video or doing a live stream and then not wanting anybody to see it? So for the most part, you're going to want to do public, okay? And the nice thing is that is your default. And my apologies, I evidently have been running a little hot. But if you really need to, if there's a real need, for a particular video, then you do have the options of Unlisted, which has a shareable URL and no cap on it, or Private, which is restricted to people who have the special account and is capped at 50. All right. I hope that was helpful. I hope that at least cleared up some of the mystery around this for you. If you have any questions, comments, if you want more details about it, I will go back into all of the platforms and I check on the comments, so you can go ahead, if you're watching this on a replay, go right ahead. You can also reach out to me here it is. Should do it this way. There we go. yourtechcoach.net. There's a contact form there. You can reach out and let me know what your question is. If you have an idea for a show, feel free to let me know that. All I ask is if you do go to the site and ask a question, let me know if you need a fast answer, because if you don't tell me that, I'm going to assume that it's an idea for a show. I have no problem answering questions fast, but if you don't, A, tell me that you need a fast answer, and B, give me a way to get back in touch with you, then I'm kind of handcuffed, right? So just do those two things and we will all be good. I expect to have things a little bit more smooth next week. Thank you for coming along on the journey of transitioning. It's amazing. Like every time I go to do something, I'm like, oh, right, that's there, or that's not plugged in yet. Or so but it's all coming together. It's looking really good, I have to say. So I bought this new computer, and there are numbers at the bottom of my streaming software. I use vMix. The numbers have never been so low. It's wonderful. And there's a slight bit of hum, which I can probably even hide from you if I do a little gating on the audio. But oh my goodness, I mean, that poor thing, it served me very well, and it's going to continue to do work for me, but I'm not going to ask it to live stream anymore because it was really, really letting me know it was unhappy. It was never designed to be a live streaming machine at all. The one that I have now is. And it's a much nicer, smoother experience, but I do have to get all the things plugged in. I've got my Wacom that I haven't put on. I've got my X keys. It's not plugged in yet. I wasn't able to do captions tonight because I forgot I didn't have my caption thing set up. So we'll get it all worked out. It may take a couple of weeks, but we will get there. In the meantime, I do thank you for coming and checking this out. Please do, subscribe, share the word with your friends. We like to have more people at the party. That's always fun. And we will see you next week. I do this show every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, U.S., and as I said, if you have any questions, comments, if you have a topic you want me to cover, feel free. There we go. Woohoo! Hey, that worked. All right, have a good one. I will talk to you soon. Bye. No intro, no outro. They will return. So long. Oh my goodness.